The mighty Indian military is one of the top 5 powers in the world, though growing civilian unrest is shifting the focus within. For 2020, India is ranked 4 of 138 out of the countries considered for the annual GFP review. It holds a PwrIndx rating of 0.0953, 0.0000, considered perfect. India's defense budget for 2020-2021 will be $73.65 billion, the country government announced Saturday, but officials and analysts are warning the amount is unlikely to meet new demands for weapons purchases and military modernization, as India is set to spend about 90% of its defense funds on existing obligations. Of the total budget, $18.52 billion is for weapons purchases, $32.7 billion is for maintenance of the military's weapons inventory, pay and allowances, infrastructure, and recurring expenses, and $21.91 billion is for defense pensions. The senior Ministry of Defense official told Defense News that due to the shortage of funds, at least a dozen pending defense contracts will experience delays. The Indian Navy is to receive $4.56 billion, which is expected to help cover the cost of leasing a nuclear submarine and stealth frigates from Russia, as well as pay for warships from Indian companies. A Navy official said it is unlikely the service will be able to sign a contract for 24 MH-60R multirole helicopters for more than $2 billion from the U.S. next year. The Indian Army is to receive $5.06 billion to pay cover previous orders of wheeled and ultralight artillery guns, T-90 tanks, and ammunition. India's state-owned defense companies continue to receive 60% of defense-related business, with 30% going to overseas defense companies and 10% to domestic private defense firms. Another MOD official said the armed forces plan to focus on industry-funded defense projects under the government's Make II category, which allows private companies to participate in the prototype development of weapons and platforms with a focus on import substitution, for which no government funding will be provided. The Indian Air Force is to receive $6.76 billion from the 2020-2021 budget, a drop from the previous year's $7.01 billion. The money is expected to go toward payments for orders of Rafale fighters from France and an S-400 missile system from Russia. India has started 2020 with a series of military tests. On January 1, Army Chief Bipin Rawat was announced as the new Chief of Defence Staff or CDs, a post the type of which hasn't existed since India attained independence in 1947. Since January 1, India has test-fired a new submarine-launched missile and a new series of fighter jets. Some surveys forecasts that India will play a significant role militarily in the end time. The way it has started 2020 supports this forecast. Before Rawat's promotion to CDs, the role was split between 3 different chiefs of the Army, Navy and Air Force, each battling for supremacy over the other. Rawat will now head a department of more than 60 people, directly under the Defense Minister, as well as have power and authority to unite the 3 military branches of the Army, Navy and Air Force. This has all been orchestrated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who enjoys the largest parliamentary majority since 1984. A perceived threat from China and Pakistan has led Modi to reform India's army. The new CDs will organize the armed forces based on the American model, which places all forces in a particular area under one officer. India's military transformation isn't just in its structural organization, but also in its weapons of war. On January 19, India's Defence Research and Development Organisation test-fired a submarine-launched, nuclear-capable ballistic missile off the coast in southeastern India. These missiles are crafted to launch from a fleet of nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, which are expected to achieve long-range nuclear capability by 2021. On January 20, India showcased its Tigershark fighter jet squadron, commissioned by General Rawat. The commissioning ceremony featured 4 fighters, but a complement of 18 fighters is expected to be completed by the end of the year. Most of the fighters will be capable of carrying a 2.5-ton, air-launched supersonic cruise missile, with 42 older models slated to receive the necessary upgrades to match.